Today we're going to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs from the perspective of Taro and the Tree of Life. As you may know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs has 5 levels. These are physiological needs like food, water, sleep, safety, which includes security, stability, health, and shelter, love and belonging like friendship, intimacy, family, social connections, esteem, that's self-respect, confidence, recognition, status, etc. And self-actualization, for example, purpose, creativity, fulfillment, and realizing one's potential. In Tarot, we have 4 levels of human expression and hence 4 basic levels of needs. These are the Pentacles, the bodily practical level, the Swords, the intellectual level, the Cups, the creative feeling level, and the Wands, the spiritual level. To compare them with Maslow's hierarchy, we will need to divide those into sublevels. In the context of this video, we don't distinguish between emotions and needs. Emotions are the mechanisms with which the body makes its needs felt. For example, the body produces fear to express its need to survive. Hence, every need has a corresponding emotion that makes sure the respective need is met. Maslow's physiological needs reside at the bottom of the bodily practical level, like the need for food, water, air, and sleep. The next sublevel is the need for safety. This includes the need for shelter and the safety we get from living in a group, like a family or society. Social safety means stability in the society or group we live in. Safety also means health safety, since sicknesses are the #1 killer on this planet. This calls for hygiene and the availability of doctors and medication. For millions of years, humans have lived in groups to stay safe. We may not be aware of it, but being expelled from society is a death sentence. For this purpose, nature developed social emotions to ensure humans remain social and hence safe. Examples: shame, sense of belonging, loneliness, and embarrassment. That's where the saying, humans are social animals, comes from. Within society and groups, we face a different adversity: social ranks and power structures. If we clash with social structures that are more powerful than we are, we feel helpless. Helplessness produces fear, which produces aggression. Humans have a love-hate relationship with society. It keeps them safe, but also caps their ambitions. In a way, the need to thrive in society replaced the need to survive. On the next sublayer, we have sensual pleasures that pertain to our 5 senses. Strictly speaking, these are not needs, since we can do without them. However, we are addicted to a considerable number of sensual pleasures like coffee, cake, and chips. Addictions produce artificial needs. Since consumerism has become overwhelmingly elaborate, addiction has become one of the major challenges of modern life. On the next sublevel, we have the sex need. According to Sigmund Freud, this is the most powerful need. The need for sex is independent of the survival need because nature has a second agenda, the survival of the species, which is as important as the survival of the individual. These 2 needs may conflict. For instance, if we get into a dangerous situation, we may pass on an opportunity to mate, but we may get ourselves into dangerous situations to mate or risk conflicts with society. See Romeo and Juliet. The needs to survive, social emotions, addictions, and the sex drive conflict all the time and produce the fireworks of human dramas. Survival may conflict with the need for sensual pleasures, shame, and sex. And we constantly sacrifice one for the other, depending on circumstances and the strength of the emotions involved. Belonging is a social emotion and doesn't deserve its own level. Likely, Maslow gave it its own level because he lumped love and belonging together. Love and belonging are 2 different affairs. Love is a feeling and belonging is an emotion. Love and other feelings, like happiness, come from the heart or soul, and we need to cultivate them. More about this when we get to the creative feeling level. Esteem is an emotional response to rising the ranks and achieving recognition and status. Esteem is connected to serotonin, the reward hormone, which produces a sense of esteem. Behind the need to rise social ranks is the drive for power, which the philosopher Nietzsche believed to be the strongest drive. But likely it is just a sublimated survival need. In societies, competition replaces hunting. Now we come to the intellectual level, which Maslow did not honor. Yes, the intellect has needs too, and they differ from emotions. All needs for entertainment fall into this category, for example, the need to party. The intellect is curious. It likes to know things. Science expresses the need to know. The intellect also likes games, riddles, and conspiracy theories. Intellectual needs can turn into addictions too. Our younger generations are struggling hard with things like Facebook, doom scrolling, and canceling. Curiosity may conflict with emotions. For instance, curiosity can get us into dangerous situations. But the intellect may also get involved in emotional affairs. Sensual pleasure aside, much of sex takes place in the head and is a matter of intellectual entertainment. Many people are trapped on the bodily, practical, and intellectual levels. This is because of the temptations of the modern lifestyle, which revolves around sensual gratifications and entertainment. The consumer industry offers endless products that cater sensual gratification or entertainment. It even reduced activities that belong to the creative or spiritual level to consumption. For instance, yoga, which has a spiritual purpose, has been reduced to wellness, a bodily need. Nothing wrong with wellness, but it does not cultivate the creative or spiritual levels. If we only gratify our senses and delight our intellect, we starve our soul, and a sense of inner emptiness will spread. To fill this void, we need to reverse our lifestyle. Instead of living from outside in, that's consumerism, we need to live from the inside out. We do that by expressing ourselves. Expression is the essence of creativity. The creative feeling level coincides with Maslow's self-actualization level. Self-actualization is a creative undertaking. As George Bernard Shaw said, life isn't about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself. Self-actualization implies realizing one's heart's desire. Our heart's desire is the one thing we want to be and do in this incarnation. I want to be an inspiring writer. What do you want to be? Humans are natural-born creators. Look at kids. When people can get creative, they feel happy. Art belongs to this level. True art is a matter of the heart. Inventions belong to this level too, though they seem to be intellectual affairs. Here, we are also on the level of feelings. As mentioned, feelings come from the heart, and we need to cultivate them. Love is the mother of all feelings, and that love is unconditional and radiant. Wanting to be loved is an emotion. To love someone or something is a feeling. Love compares to the sun, which shines unconditionally on everything. Feelings may clash with emotions. Emotions may get the better of us, but when we remember our humanity, we return to expressing feelings like love and empathy. In politics, we can observe a war between emotions and feelings. Some politicians are driven by emotions, like greed or thirst for power. They manipulate other people's emotion to further their agendas. That's where populism comes from. Fortunately, there are also empathetic and good-willed politicians who carry people's well-being in their hearts. Can you tell who is who? When feelings prevail over emotions, social progress happens, like the protection of society against tyranny, the shielding of workers against the greed of industrialists, and the safeguarding of women against patriarchal influences. The spiritual level is the one where our soul is active. Many people are dimly aware of their soul, which is like a sun behind a cloudy sky. The ego is responsible for that alienation, which pulls self-consciousness from the spiritual level down into the intellectual and bodily levels. The purpose of life is to have meaningful experiences. These enrich the soul with wisdom, understanding, and empathy. Every experience, however beautiful, gets boring eventually. Hence, the soul's prime interest is the evolution of experience. But in order to have greater experiences, our minds need to evolve first. For example, we can't experience love if we don't become a lover first. We are looking at a revolving mechanism. We have an experience which expands our minds, that enables greater experiences, which evolves our minds again, and so on. Everything we do, think, and feel promotes the evolution of consciousness. The pressure we sometimes feel is the pressure of karma that produces tailor-made experiences which promote enlightenment. Mind enlightenment is not the purpose of incarnation. It's a means to an end to enable ever more meaningful experiences. Life needs to be lived. Eventually, enlightenment arrives at the turning point where we can level up the experience game and get access to other realities and higher aspects of the self. At that point, karma loses its importance. We work actively on enlightenment, reducing the need for karma to produce challenging experiences that drive the evolution of our consciousness. Upon deciding to lead a spiritual life, we turn the pyramid of needs on its head. Enlightenment becomes the most important need, to which we may sacrifice other needs like sex, entertainment, social acceptance, and even self-actualization. This is what monks and nuns do. We may even reduce physiological needs to a minimum to save energy for spiritual practices. And we may fast temporarily to advance spiritually. Monasteries exist for this reason. They reduce needs to a minimum, minimizing adversity, and thereby reduce emotional responses. This creates an environment in which the seeker of enlightenment can cultivate love and spirituality. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Enlightenment Tarot and discovered an inspiration or two. Please help us to spread the light with a like and a share. And don't forget to subscribe. Love and light.